Don't make the same mistake twice. This is a very important lesson that all of us need to learn. I'm going to illustrate the importance of this lesson by telling you a small story. I was 17 years old. I had just started getting into the gym probably a year ago by that point. And at 17, I was in the best shape of my life. I was the leanest I had ever been since I started lifting weights. I dropped a whole lot of weight. I wasn't a fat kid anymore. I was someone that looked athletic. I was someone that looked jacked. Until adversity hit me. The adversity came in the form of an elbow injury. You see this part right here? That's where the triceps tendon is. I ended up injuring this part while pushing through a really heavy shoulder press set. I thought, you know what? This is probably just a tiny injury. It's cool. I can push through. I've got to be a man. I've got to push myself. I've got to go past this. I've got to continue working out. I've got to continue pushing myself to failure. Otherwise, I'm not a man. That's how I saw things when I was 17. Fast forward 2 months beyond that initial injury, I ended up developing a chronic form of tendon injury right there, and I couldn't do any upper body movements for about 6 months past that. It just felt like my world came crashing down. I worked so hard to get into the best shape of my life just for this shitty injury to derail all of my progress, to send me back to stage zero. It humbled me in a lot of ways. And that was a lesson that I learned very young. Right now, I'm 20 years old. And I can tell you definitively that right now I am in the best shape of my life since I've started lifting weights. I'm the lightest I've ever been. I'm the most conditioned I've ever been. And I feel great. Until adversity hit me again. In the same format, just in a different location. I injured this part of my elbow right here. Say I injured it, I felt a little bit of pain while I was doing an incline bench exercise. You know what the first thing that popped into my head was? It wasn't the old saying of push through it no matter what. It wasn't the saying of just be a man up, and go for it. It was the experience that I had a couple of years ago where I had a similar injury and how it derailed me for months on end, where I had to find ways to rehab myself back to track. And it reminded me of the same humbling experience. That's when I told myself, I won't make the same mistake twice. I realized that when I'm this deep into a deficit, into a calorie deficit, and I'm trying to cut weight, and I'm at unprecedented states of weight where my body is not accustomed to being in, the connective tissue take time to repair. The connective tissue take time to adapt. Now, if I didn't acknowledge that, and I simply just went in and started training as intensely as I normally do, I would end up injuring myself, which is kind of what happened a couple of years ago when I injured my elbow in the first place. I have learned from that. That's the wisdom that I need right now. I told myself I wouldn't make the same mistake twice, and I adjusted my training program accordingly. I realized that the importance of preserving my muscle on a cut. I realized that it was important for me to do that in comparison to fulfilling my ego, that I need to lift as strong as I can. I need to be as disciplined as I can. I need to push through this adversity. I thought instead of pushing through it, let me solve the adversity. And I did. That was 2 weeks ago. Here I am now. My elbow feels a lot better. And I'm still not pushing myself to, go hit failure and do all of that while being in such a deficit, because I'm playing the long game. I'm being careful with where I'm going. And that's when it hit me. This is the growth that I was talking about. You see, on reflecting, it feels like we all face similar problems, just in multiple different formats at multiple different times in life. And each time that we face a problem, it's important to ask ourselves, have I already been here? Have I faced something similar to this? Have I dealt with something like this before? So think about that. And when you do, remember, That if you make the same mistake as last time, you'll end up with the same result. So do something different. Do not make the same mistake twice, at least not intentionally. That's the lesson I want to leave you with. It's think about scenarios that are similar to the scenario or the problem that you're dealing with today. I don't know what it is that's bothering you. I don't know what's stopping you from being happy and fulfilled in life right now, but whatever problem it is that you're dealing with, I want you to know that it's probably not the first time that you're dealing with it. You perhaps have already dealt with it in a different format. So think about what you did the last time. Think about why it caused you to fail. And don't make the same mistake twice this time. I trust you to be able to do that. Good luck.